That name's rings some bells. Distant bells, but bells nonetheless. It's just your imagination, Gramps. This file contains all the relevant data about Dahlia Hawthorne. Oh yes, I remember, no. That case, 5 years ago. Phoenix, you're the one that ate that poison bottle, weren't you? My name is Dahlia Hawthorne. I just want to say, it's an honor for me to be here in your noble presence. Go suck a dick. Your honor's all mine! No, the honor's all mine. Yet slamming her head into the desk. But according to this, Dahlia Hawthorne is already dead. It says her execution was carried out last month. So what? Death has no meaning in this courtroom. What? Order. Wait a moment. How can you, my sister, she's already dead. What kind of... You of all people should already understand after all. The blood of the master of the Korean channeling technique flows within that body. The Korean channeling technique? Now where have I heard that? That's right, you're not Dahlia Hawthorne herself. You're the spirit of Dahlia currently inhabiting the body of a spirit medium. What an exciting story. Exciting, but quite impossible. You're asking us to buy that Dahlia Hawthorne just happened to be channeled by someone? On the very night of the murder to a temple where her twin sister, Iris, was. Well, if you're going to put things that way, then yes. We're supposed to believe a coincidence like that just happens? Naturally, it was no coincidence. The whole thing was part of a plan from the very beginning. It's all written right here in these instructions. What's that? These instructions were written by your mother, Morgan Fay. As a part of the plan, it called for Dahlia Hawthorne to be channeled. That night, there were 2 irises at the Hazakura Temple. 2 of them. Even the time of the channeling was planned out. As soon as you hear the lights out bell, in other words, 10 p.m. However, Iris was seen before dinner time. That means that the Iris that was at the dinner was the real Iris. And the Iris who gave me this hood in the main hall was also the real Iris. Meaning that the Iris Sister Bikini saw at the inner temple was someone else dressed as her, namely one Dahlia Hawthorne. Do you even know what you're saying, Trite? This whole channeling the spirit of Dahlia Hawthorne business. Yes, it's true that you found plans that talk about it. However, there's one thing that's perfectly clear. The witness currently standing in the witness stand is the real Iris. What? Calm down and remember what you know about the night of the crime. After meeting Sister Bikini, the Dahlia Hawthorne that has been channeled would have been stranded at the inner temple due to this lightning strike. It was later that the body was moved by a pendulum. That's right. Naturally, that would mean that the Iris that received the body was the real Iris. Are you with me so far? Yes. After being notified of what happened, the police came to Hazakura Temple. There, they found Iris in her room and arrested her. And ever since, she's been under police supervision at the detention center. Yes, I suppose. I can't deny any of that. Phew, thank goodness. Looks like he's finally convinced. But something still seems off. Way off. I'm still not convinced that the iris here is the same one from the other night. I suppose you're about to say something really ridiculous. Like the real Iris and the spirit of Dahlia somehow switch places. Why do you want me to say that? Switch places? To be perfectly honest, there are still quite a few things I don't understand, but I do know. Unless we confirm the witness identity, we can't continue with this trial. Iris doesn't have the spiritual power needed to channel Dahlia, which means they must have switched places somewhere. Well, Mr. Right, well, it was obviously the Inner Temple when the earthquake happened. Since the time she was arrested at Hazakura Temple, have there been any chances for Iris to switch places with Dahlia Hawthorne? There was one. Your Honor, I think there might have been one chance. Oh, explain yourself. Yesterday, for a few minutes, Iris's whereabouts were unknown. Unknown? What do you mean? What I mean is, there was a span of time in which Iris was able to move about freely, unsupervised. Well, who was it? Who would give a murder suspect time to move about freely like that? I'm sorry. I know you didn't mean to. It wasn't your fault. Give me Edward. No, fuck. Take that! This is Mr. Edgeworth, isn't it? Your Honor. There was a fairly large earthquake yesterday, was there not? An earthquake? Earthquake? Oh my goodness, the Inner Temple. This kind of tremor might. Oh, could I have? She fled. She escaped. We went to the Inner Temple right away. And it's true, Iris was already there. However, they have already switched places by that point in time. When I arrived at the training hall, I was met by none other than Dahlia Hawthorne. That's quite enough already, Mr. Wright. Now see here. No judge in his right mind would consider the idea of spirit channeling and... Be quiet. Hey, Dahlia, how's it going? It's been a long time, Mr. Judge. What? That voice? Guess I'll have to ask again. Name and occupation. Upon meeting a beautiful lady, I always ask for a name and profession. That's one of my rules. Huh. Dahlia Hawthorne. And my current profession? Permanently retired. So you're not going to bother hiding your identity anymore, huh? Why should I? After all, I'm dead. There's really nothing you can do to punish me. That face. What is going on here? Dahlia Hawthorne. I never thought we'd meet again. I never thought we'd meet like this. But this time, I'll end it for her and for myself. Now then, let's continue where we left off, shall we? I guess. Oh, well, witness? How can I help you, Mr. Judge? It seems that if we're to learn the truth, we'll need to hear your testimony. I have no problem with that. But when you've seen what I have, sometimes the truth is better left unknown. In any case, let's hear your testimony. Tell us about the plan that was carried out that night. Dahlia Hawthorne. The whole plan began with my death. The stupid plan hatched by Morgan Fay to install her own daughter as the next master. But for it to work, Maya Fey would first have to die. The idea was for me to kill Maya and then have the blame pinned on Iris. The plan went wrong, but it seemed to have succeeded anyway. So that means you really are... Now, wait a minute. Did you just say the plan was to kill Maya Fey? Yes, you have a problem with that? Don't give us that... Watch yourself, trite. If you've got a problem, solve it during cross-examination. That's my rules. Mr. Godot is correct, and by the way, that's my rule as well. To kill Maya, would it be true? Could it be true? The whole plan began after my death. You were executed last month, correct? Yes, I was hanged. It wasn't exactly pleasant. Probably should have been shot. How do you manage to discuss the plan? When did you talk with Morgan Fay? Last year, she was transferred to the same detention center as me. Of course she was. Since I was on death row, she was my mother. It was actually pretty easy to meet with her. I see. So that's when you discussed the plan. Are you crazy? At first, that woman was planning to kill me as well, even though I'm her own daughter. All to make Pearl Fay the master of Korean. She's a cold, twisted woman. She thought she could finally regain her lost honor. The honor she lost when her younger sister Misty took her place as the master. Ever since that day, she's been working on this plan. A plan, huh? You're talking about Pearl Fay, that is correct? Is that correct? Yes, though at first she had high hopes for us, for the two of us. You and your twin sister, Iris. That's correct. Fortunately, neither of us had much spiritual power. That's why we were abandoned by her, along with her father, our father. Abandoned? The only person I ever really cared about in life was myself. My sister was a nuisance, so I convinced my father to leave her at an old temple. You mean Iris? Yes, my father remarried a woman who also had a daughter. The less children you have, the more money there is to go around, right? On top of that, my father had absolutely no interest in children in general. Oh, how horrible. The real horrible one was that woman. That bitter, vengeful woman. It was her stubbornness that gave birth to that child, Pearl Fay. She was born with an abundance of spiritual power, unfortunately for her. Morgan Fay heaped all of her broken hopes and dreams on that poor child's back. All because of her pathetic dreams of having her bloodline become the main family. Reading ahead. Maya would have to die, but why? For our bloodline to succeed as the main family, thus making Pearl the new master, the remaining descendants of the current master had to be taken care of. The Pearls would never agree to a plan like that. They never said to. She adores Maya. She's not doing the killing. How sad. You still don't get it, do you? What Pearl wanted had nothing to do with it. Morgan didn't care one bit about Pearl. The only thing she cared about was the position of the master. That's all. That's ridiculous. She was willing to sacrifice anything and anyone to achieve her goal. The life of her daughter, and naturally the life of Maya Fey as well. How could anyone do that? You were going to kill Maya. Pearl didn't need to know anything about it. All she had to do was to follow the instructions in the letter and channel me. Then I would have simply used her body and finished the job. In any case, I'm already dead, and there's nothing any of you can do to me. So the plan was to blame the crime on your younger sister. I'm Sister Iris of the Hazakura Temple. She and I look absolutely identical, and no one can tell us apart. If someone were to witness me killing Maya, naturally they would think it was the Iris that had done it. And the witness in this case was the head nun, Sister Bikini. I never would have guessed she was going to return to Hazakura Temple that night. But she wound up seeing Iris's crime anyway. But why did you want to pin the murder on Iris in the first place? Because you don't want the headship going to her. She's your twin sister, isn't she? She doesn't give a fuck. Twin sister? Don't make me laugh. She's nothing but a backstabber. I couldn't care less about her. Backstabber. You just don't understand. You never will. Anyway. God, I fucking hate you. You think that plan was a success? You heard me. Just as that woman had hoped. Maya Fey is dead. Is she dead? Now that the title of Master will pass on to Pearl Fey. That's absurd. Maya isn't just... She's just trapped inside the sacred cavern. Really? You're such a foolishly optimistic as ever, aren't you, my dear, darling Feeny? Do you want me to throw this desk at you? You want to know the truth? Ever since we met, I've despised you. Your sniveling naivete and your pathetic faith in other people. I just want to know one thing. Is my dick bigger than him? What did you personally think of my Morgan Fey's plan? I told you already, didn't I? It was a stupid plan. I had no point, no value other than fulfilling her own greedy desires. Yes, it was certainly nothing to be proud of. If that's how you feel, why did you help her carry it out? Why did you do it? Why did you kill Maya? You may not understand it, but being the kind and gentle soul that you are, you may not be able to appreciate why someone like me would help a woman like that. So then tell me, why? Isn't it obvious? I'm not like that woman. I only act in my own self-interest. The reason I helped her was for myself. For my own personal satisfaction. What did you say? So this woman, Dahlia Hawthorne, She had her own reason for wanting Maya dead. Yeah, to get revenge on Mia. She's like, can I just press on this? Obviously, it's because you were helping Morgan Fay. No, no. God, I need to go back. I'm going to present Mia's profile. Helping? Don't make me laugh. From the day I was born to the day I died, I never helped anyone. I lived for myself, and in the end, I died for myself. I thought that was obvious. So she wasn't actually cooperating with Morgan. She was just using Morgan in her own plan so she could accomplish her own goal. All I wanted to do was kill Maya Fey. That was the only way I could think of to get revenge. Looks like I have no choice but to present that piece of evidence. I can't believe it. She meant to kill Maya. I've got to keep a cool head. And I need to get more information out of her. It's the only way to understand this plan and what she was after as well. Where's Mia? Could it be that your actual goal had nothing to do with Maya Fey herself? As I said, none of you have the power to punish me anymore. Because I'm already dead. Well, I had the same problem, you see. You can't punish the dead. And you can't take revenge against them either. You wanted to take revenge on someone. I was sentenced to die because of that woman. Mia Fey. I somehow knew this was it. I wanted to send her a message. It was at her hands that I suffered my first humiliation. I wanted her to feel the same pain she made me feel. Sadly, when I realized revenge was impossible, I gave up. And the reason it was impossible? Was it perhaps because Mia Fey had already died? Yes, and I realized there's only one way to take revenge against the dead. And how do you do that? Even when the body dies, the spirit, the ego, it lives on forever. I wanted to take away the person that Mia Fey loved the most. Me! I wanted to kill her with my own hands. That would be the one and only way I could take my revenge against Mia Fey. That was the reason I helped out with that woman's plans. Just for that you would kill Maya. Your goal was no different than that of Morgan Fey. As they say, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. What a cruel plan, cruel, cold, and heartless. Don't waste your time preaching to the dead. I've already told you there's not a thing you can do to me. That night, at around about 9:30 p.m., I materialized into this world. I quickly pinned my hair up and put on a demon-warding hood. Then I picked up the staff that was by my side and left Hazakura Temple. So it was Elise who channeled her after all. That ridiculous head nun never noticed a thing. She left Maya Fey at the inner temple and wobbled back, clutching her poor old back. What did you do then? That kid was easier to handle than I had hoped. I caught up with her in front of the stone lantern. Then I took out the dagger I got from the storeroom and... This is bullshit. So then you're saying you stabbed Maya? It's strange, but I don't have a clear memory of what happened after that. She's clearly not dead. You're the one that wrote Maya on the lantern, unless she wrote her own name, which is just stupid. What do you mean, no clear memory?
I don't know. I think I was stabbed.
You were stabbed?
At the last minute, Maya Fey must have stabbed me, I'm sure of it.
That's not like her at all. Maya wouldn't stab a French fry with a plastic fork.
Anyway, I suddenly lost consciousness. But before I did, I scrawled her name on the lantern. Just as I was passing out, I wrote Maya behind my back. I'd hoped it would cast suspicion on her.
I can't believe she was thinking of that until the bitter end. Well, she's not dying. Her body is. She doesn't give a fuck.
That's where my memory temporarily stops.
It stops. Temporarily. How is it brought back? Temporarily. I don't have any memory of actually killing Maya Fey with my own two hands. My very last memory was Maya's terror-filled eyes. When I woke up after that, I was in the sacred cavern surrounded by darkness. You were in the sacred cavern? The entrance was sealed with one of those trick locks. Somehow I had been trapped in there. How did you wind up in there? I'd like to know that myself. Anyway, I was worried. I didn't know whether or not Maya Fey was dead, and I swore I wouldn't return to the underworld until I knew I'd killed her myself. For a ghost, you're one tough cookie. I wanted to get out of there and make sure she was dead, but I couldn't do it. I couldn't get out. The trick lock stopped you, huh? I didn't know how to remove it. So then you're saying you were actually confined against your will inside this sacred cavern? Yes, I wanted to get rid of that annoying lock as soon as possible, but it wasn't easy. I kept getting interrupted while I was working on it. Interrupted? It was early in the morning, but someone came into the training hall. Pearl. What? Who? Could it have been Maya? No, it was Pearl. I thought the same thing, but I couldn't see. Why not? If someone had spotted me, I would have lost my chance to take revenge, so I made sure to hide myself well at the back of the sacred cavern. That morning, only two people could have gone into the training hall. Maya and Pearls. Pearls went there to cover up the hanging scroll and gravy. Maya channeled her. Still, I finally managed to remove the lock. Maya was channeling her spirit. That's what went on there. But I was too late. What do you mean by that? The files had already started to gather. Flies. The bridge had been fixed and the police had started their investigation, correct? Naturally, I couldn't go out. So instead, I returned to the cavern and put the lock back on myself. I realized I wouldn't get a chance to see Maya's corpse as I had hoped. But just then Lady Luck showed up. Lady Luck. After that big earthquake, she showed up all by herself. The real Iris. She said she'd come to make sure that the sacred cavern was alright. Stupid girl. I came out from the sacred cavern and got a feel for the situation. And I locked her away in that place. I'd finally learned exactly what had happened. It was then that I learned that the plan had succeeded. What do you mean, your plan had succeeded? I'd misunderstood one thing, you see. That night, the one that had summoned me, I'd assumed that was Pearl Fey. Well, of course you would have assumed that. It was written on the instructions. But I was wrong. The person that had actually called my spirit back was Misty Fey, the picture book author. What? Well, that's really the only possibility, isn't it? After I lost consciousness in the garden, it was her body that was left lying there. Maya Fey. I wasn't able to kill her with my own hands after all. But even so, I made her commit the most vile sin a human can commit. And that is matricide, the sin of killing her own mother. Ugh. No way. Bullshit. No, Maya didn't kill jack shit. Someone else did it. Someone, please. Maybe someone was controlling Maya who ended up killing her, so it was actually not Maya who did it. I don't know anymore. Order in the court, what's the meaning of this? It's true that I was attacked, the one who attacked... It's true that I was the one who attacked Maya Fey, but even so, the murderer who actually snuffed out Misty Fey's life was none other than your darling little Maya. Ridiculous. That's nonsense. Are you sure? So, you sure about that? Just think about it. There's even evidence supporting these facts, isn't there? What? What do you mean? What is this so-called evidence? The fact that Maya Fey has disappeared is evidence enough, isn't it? Huh? Just because someone hasn't shown up doesn't mean they're dead. The idea that she's still in the sacred cavern is just ridiculous. She wasn't able to escape from the inner temple that much is obvious. In that case, there's only one place she could be. Where? Do I have to spell it out? The bottom of Eagle River, where else? Eagle River? Maya Fey killed her long-lost mother. Can you imagine the guilt she must have felt when she realized that? That's why she threw herself into the Eagle River. Most bodies that wind up there are lost forever. Most. She could have lived. So what do you have to say now, Feeny? Uh-oh. Hello. Hello. Oh, sorry, that's my phone. Are you kidding me? What the hell is this? What are you doing, Godot? Oh my god.